afternoon, Charles Ngobeni.
Good afternoon, sir, and all the viewers all over the world.
Thank you very much, Charles. You happen to be on Entrepreneurship Couch, and you have come to share your entrepreneurship journey with our viewers across the globe.
Look, it's my pleasure to do that because you don't live in an island. And what I like about most of the people who are so successful all over the world, they share their experiences. It is just a pity that most of us black people, when you find a good thing, you want to keep it for yourself and hide it for yourself, which can't be right. Look, I have got a lot of pitfalls in my life, and that's why I document them in my books, so that the next person should not fall in the same pitfall that I've fallen into. If ever you have to stumble, it must be in another hole, not in the same hole that I stumbled into.
Thank you very much for that, Charles. Now, briefly, may you share with our viewers your journey on entrepreneurship? Where and how did you start?
Look, it's a long journey. It can take the whole month if I were to share all of it. But it started from the humble beginning when I was still at high school and I had a camera. And I would shoot photos and give them to the owners at a fee. That's when it all started. So if you were to ask me when was that, I'll say during my primary years. Entrepreneurship was just in me. I just hate to say that I was born with it, because then that will mean that we exclude some other people. I was not born with it, but I developed it. You know, I used to borrow a camera from my high school teacher. I shoot pictures, and by then I will just post them, and then they develop, and then they come back to us after so many days. But I made so much money in such a way that in almost 8 months' time, I went back to my teacher and say to him, "Can you sell me your camera?" He could not believe it. He said, "No, where will you get the money?" I said, "No, I've got the money." Then he told me the price, and I saved enough money to buy the camera. So the money that I used to buy my first camera is the money that I made from that very same camera, which was a loan to me. From there, I went to the Technicon. I studied there. Well, I schooled myself by God's grace. I went through the Technicon. It was not easy. It was a little bit tough. Then I went to work as a high school teacher. But during my high school career, the third month, when I got my first pay, I bought my first taxi. And I did not even have a cent in my pocket. And that story is so amazing because a friend of mine who was an assistant pastor drove me to town with his car. And when we were there, I saw a taxi there, which was brand new. I went to the owner of the garage. I said to him, "Meneer, I need to buy this taxi." He told me, "No, you need 10,000 rand deposit by then." Then I told him, "I don't have the 10,000. Is there anything that you can do?" He said, "Nothing." Then I showed him the car that we drove in to town, which was not mine, by the way. I said to him, "If I were to take that car and trade it in, would that be possible?" He looked into the car, evaluated it. He said, "No, it is possible because the car is worth 14,000 rand. I said to him, "If I were to buy back the same car, because I knew it was not mine, how much will it cost?" He said, "No, if you want to buy it back, I can sell it back to you at the same price, 14,000 rand. Then I said to him, "Meneer, how much deposit do you want?" He said, "For 14,000 rand car, if you were to have 4,000 rand, you can have it back." I said, "Bingo." Then I spoke to the gentleman that I drove to the garage with. He sold his car for 14,000 rand. And out of the 14,000 rand, he took 10,000 himself to buy the kumbi in his name. We were left with 4,000. I took the 4,000 to buy back his car. So basically, we went to town with one car, which was debt-free. We came back home with 2 cars, which were owing. That was the beginning of my journey. When I look back into my taxi business, the electrical shops that I had, the butchery, the wimpy restaurants, the art of skincare, the filling stations, the mining, and so many, I can clearly say there's absolutely nothing that I started with my own money. Everything was God-given creative ideas. So it has been a long journey.
Interesting, Charles. Now we would want to pick on your franchise business, the Wimpy business. How did you choose the franchising business? Why franchising?
To be frank with you and to be honest with you, I'm an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, you see an opportunity. And when the opportunity presents itself, you grab it with both hands. So I did not sit down, wake up, and say, I need a franchise. You know, I relocated when I got married from Guyana to Johannesburg. And when I was here in Johannesburg, I realized Guyana is too far. And I can no longer run my businesses that far. And I needed to relocate because of the marriage situation. So I continued my teaching career here in Johannesburg, but I wanted a business. So I read the newspapers, I moved around, looked for a good business. And by God's grace, let me say, I stumbled across the first Wimpy. So it was not a choice by then. I stumbled on a good thing. And when you find a good thing, you keep it.
Charles, for the benefit of our viewers, what are the benefits of running a franchise?
Now that I stumbled on a good thing, I can give you a lot of benefits. But initially, remember, I stumbled. But the benefits of franchising, number one, it's a well-known brand. You are buying into something which people already know. People, they know the price, they know the product already. So the chances of you failing is very minimal. If you were to start a Wimpy restaurant now, anywhere in the country, we know what kind of a product. Even if it's a new Wimpy, people come there knowing what they'll buy, at what price. They know the taste already, and they know it is good. Secondly, it offers you an easy access to the market, because the Wimpy has got already market all over there. So wherever we go, we know if I stop on the shop, I want to buy Wimpy, I know how it will be like against a dealer-owned brand. So the market is huge there. They've already created a market for you. But it also offers an easy access to finance, because all the banks, if they want to finance, they want to finance the franchise. In fact, all the major banks nowadays, they've got a special section within the banking sector where they concentrate on franchising. Simply also because there is a low rate of failure. If you do your own thing, the failure rate is very, very high. But most importantly as well, you have got the whole head office which supports you. Even before you close your doors, the head office will have picked up some faults, some blunders, something out there within your business, because on a weekly basis, they check on you. How's business? How are you performing? And how can you help you? They've got expertise in terms of marketing that I've got access into for free. Imagine, take you and me. How do you go in a national television to advertise a coffee? Most probably will never afford that. But all of us will contribute towards a marketing budget. And as such, putting up anything out there is a piece of cake. So there are a lot of benefits of franchising, but these are the basic benefits, I would say.
Charles, we may have a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs and business people who may want to get into franchising. What are some of the expected challenges and hurdles when it comes to franchising applications when you look at the processing and procedures?
Look, to apply is very easy. I mean, if you know English very well, you take an application form, you read it and apply. But getting into the system is something else. Because most of the people who are within the system, they monopolize the industry. Like myself, for instance, I'm not afraid and I'm not even ashamed to say now I've got 6 wimpy restaurants. And on top of that, I had 3 others that I closed down. If I not close these 3, I'll be sitting at 9 now. But the challenge is that if we realize there's a new venture within the group which is coming up, who's the first to know? It's us who are inside that business already. In other words, a new person just to come in, although the application forms are there, you can complete it, it becomes a little bit hard. If you get anything as an outsider, most probably is something which is not that good. Like in my case, when I had to move into Wimpy Circles, when I started my first Wimpy, I had to buy. Because I realized if I were to apply to get a good Wimpy is not easy. So I bought a dead horse. But by God's grace, I managed to turn it around. And then I was inside. So getting it in, I must say, sometimes is disappointingly be difficult. Because the guys who are in already, whatever comes up, if there's a new shop coming up, they grab it with both hands. So it is not that easy, but with good connections, it is possible.
Charles, I understand you are heavily invested in other different sectors and you are using different business models. I know you have spoken to us in terms of why it is good for one to have a franchise, but what are the advantages and disadvantages of running a franchise?
Look, maybe I should just go straight into the disadvantages now,
sure,
because I've highlighted the basic advantages. The basic disadvantages, number one, is that it destroys your innovation.
Okay.
Because the products which are there, you find them there already. And it's you have got very little input, if any, to change the product. You don't have a say on the price. It's very difficult. You don't have much say on the marketing strategy because there's a marketing department which deals with everybody out there. So it destroys your innovation. It destroys your creativity because you can come with a good product, but for you to push it through the system sometimes it's tough. You need to conform within the system. And if you're a good entrepreneur, to conform is not easy, believe you me, because you're an entrepreneur, you want to do your own things at your own time. So a franchise model is like a one-size-fits-all. But a one-size-fits-all does not exist anywhere in the world. I can give you a classical example. Those of us who are franchising pub, it's difficult. People around the northern part of South Africa, they cook a different type of pap. Basotho is a different type of pap. The Xhosas, different kind of pap. The Shangans, different kind of pap. The vendors, different kind of pap. And now you want to have pap within the system. It can't be easy. So franchising is like a one-size-fits-all, which does not exist anywhere in the world. That's why you find some franchises, they do well in some areas it does not do very well. And hence, when you look into a franchising model, if you look into the franchising business, also look into your area as well to make sure that that model will work. Whatever works in cities may not work in town. Whatever works in towns may not work in villages, although it's a franchise. You know, you have got your franchisor there as well, our head office. They are after money as much as we are after money. So there are times when they neglect you, because whenever they look at me, they don't look at me as Charles. It's just like me now as a taxi driver, as a taxi owner. Whenever I see people on the street, whenever you see people on the street, you see people. With me, whenever I see people on the street, it's money. As long as I've got a space seat in the car. So sometimes the franchisor, if it's not good enough, they're after money and not after us. So those are some of the disadvantages. Hence, you need to get a very good franchisor with great reputation who have also subscribed in one of these organizations that controls the franchising as well. Because if I've got a complaint as a franchisee and the franchisor is not subscribed to any of these bodies, where do I report him to? It's a challenge. So I'll say those are the basic disadvantages.
Charles, I've got the pleasure of leaving one portfolio to the other. Now let's get on to talk about mining. You are invested in mining. What have been the challenges to do with mining? And for me, I've always looked at it as a sector which requires heavy initial capital outlay. How did you go about it?
You see, mining needs a huge capital outlay. I must be honest with you. But there's a way in which you can get around it. Easy. Easy. You see, if you tell me money is a challenge, I will beg to differ. The challenge is that we want to be like Bill Gates overnight. We can't be. You want to be like Mutsipe overnight. You can't be. If you want to be like ZZ2 and have a huge farm, the first thing to do, have your own backyard farm in your own house. Plant those 2-3 tomatoes. Show me that you can do it. Then you start your own small farm, and then you grow bit by bit. I did not become who I am overnight. It has been a journey. And we must appreciate that Johannesburg, at one stage when it started, it was only one shop, but today it's a city. So we build these businesses. When it comes to mining, so strange. I started in your own country, Zimbabwe.
Okay.
That's the reason why I know Mberekwa, I know Mutare, I know Lalapanzi, I know Gweru, I know Guburu, I know the Great Dyke. You know, talk of anywhere where you can get mines, great chrome in Zimbabwe. I walk that place. Talk of any place where you get the great quality gold in Zimbabwe. When the Zimbabweans were fleeing their own country, I saw an opportunity. And I went into their own country. And when you remember the indigenization?
Yes.
When we were only allowed 49% and the Zimbabweans will have 51%, when everybody said, this is unfair, I saw an opportunity. I said, unfair as it is, it's fine. Then I moved into Zimbabwe. Guess what? You see, in mining, like here in South Africa now, to have a claim, it will cost you about 5,000 rands. Only 5,000 rands, just to have a claim. As much as in Zimbabwe to have a claim, it's very easy, it's very cheap. But then I get an investor from all over the world. There are a lot of Chinese people, a lot of people. You just have to get a great investor and say, look, I've got the paperwork. As long as I've got the paperwork, which is genuine, you have got samples. In Zimbabwe, the chrome, the lumpis, you pick it up on the ground. The fines is all over the place, I say, no, look, guys, I've got these samples. What do you think? And I've got the paperwork. Here's the paperwork. And the paperwork costed me only 5,000 rand, not more than that. And now I said, if you want to buy into my company, I'm only selling you so much stake, but I need so much upfront, which is a huge amount. Secondly, you come up with all the equipment and the operating money. Then together, we make a lot of money. And in the process, you see, my secret in business as well is that whenever I make money, I don't change my lifestyle. I take that money and reinvest in another business or similar businesses. So if I'm with you in this mine and it's doing very well and we are making money, before we deplete the resources, I take that money, invest it in another mine. But guess what? In the new mine, now because I've got the money, I do it on my own. I no longer need any investor. And I know the game. So I apply, which is very cheap. I get investors. I lose shareholding in the process. But I take my proceeds from this first mine, then I do another mine on my own. And that's how it works. And if you were to do that, anybody can start their own mine any day, anytime.
Charles, before we have left the mining sector, with your hindsight and experience, are there any pitfalls that you may want to share with us?
You see, when it comes to mining, the most expensive thing is labor. It's not cheap. You need to know how to deal with labor. You need to know how to deal with the unions. Lucky enough, I went to school, I went to VETS as well, although I'm a taxi driver. I'm not just an ordinary taxi driver. I studied a little bit, So I know how to negotiate with the trade unions. And I know how to make my staff happy. And I also know how to be transparent to a certain degree, so that if I tell them I can't afford these wages, they must understand I can't afford, and I must be genuine. Otherwise, you will have constant strikes within the mining sector. The other thing is safety, because it's one thing making a lot of money, but it's something else if people are dying under your watch. I can't be excited and make a lot of money when people are dying. Those are challenges within the mining sector.
Charles, we have talked about the franchising business you are in. We have talked about the mining sector. I know you are also heavily invested on the JSE. You are also into fuel. You are also into transport. Before I get further into transport, I want to find out from you, when you happen to make your investment decisions, what informs your next investment decision? What do you look at?
An entrepreneur sees an opportunity. And when you see an opportunity, you grab it with both hands. That's what tells me. You see, if I look into any opportunity, I look into it, will I make money out of this? If the answer is yes, I go for it. And I don't even look into a specific section of the economy. I look holistically. That's the reason why I'm still in the taxi industry, which is very different from a wimpy industry, which is very different from a fuel station, which is different from cosmetics, which I'm manufacturing on my own, which is also very much different from mining You can't compare this. It's a wide range. And if you look into mining as well, it's completely different from the pastoring that I'm doing. It's completely different from the book writing that I'm doing. It's completely different from the speaking engagement, of which my diary is full for the whole year. You see now? So I look at any good opportunity. If the opportunity presents itself, I grab it with both hands. I don't look into any sector. If you were to ask me, I would say anything that makes money, as long as it is legal, I go for it. And for me, there is absolutely nothing that I can't do. Absolutely. Not that I know it all. If you were to come to me and say, I want to build a house, would you do it for me? I'll say yes. And I know I can't.
Charles,
I can go and start a construction company tomorrow and hire you who knows how to do it, as long as I can price it right.
Charles, a lot of entrepreneurs that I've spoken to, very few are involved in both the JSE or the public bonds as well as private investments. What has been your experience with JSE?
If you want to die poor, work alone. I'm still looking for a highly successful person who has got his own business. I can't find them. It's those people who are successful. One is either they've invested in Johannesburg Stock Exchange or any stock exchange, or their companies are listed in the stock exchange. That should be an ultimate goal for everybody. If you want to buy and sell, you are limiting yourself. But stock exchange, that's where the real money is. If you want to be rich, have your own company. But if you want to be wealthy, go for a stock exchange. You see, working for your own, it has got limitations. You know, if I'm sick and I can't go to work, my company are struggling. But if I'm invested in the stock exchange, even when I'm sick, my money is still working for me. And I'm still making great money in the stock exchange. As long as you know when to buy and when to sell. Like now, just before the coronavirus, some of us who offloaded a lot of assets. And I am sitting with millions and millions of cash. And now that there's coronavirus, after the coronavirus, things will be very, very cheap. I am going to buy the same shares that I offloaded very cheap. I'm going to buy a lot of properties because some of them will be battling to pay their bonds. And as a result, the bank will repossess them. And when they repossess, I buy them. I was to buy a beautiful car shortly before the lockdown. And I was supposed to collect my car 2 days before the lockdown. I decided not to. Why? Because I know after the lockdown, most people won't afford to buy cars. I will go and renegotiate the same car. And guess what? I might even get it at half the price. If you don't want, you'll be out of business. You will give it to me.
Charles, let's get to another sector where you are invested in, the taxis or transport industry. There have been allegations of unethical behavior when it comes to taxi drivers. How have you negotiated your way into that sector?
To start with, those are not allegations, those are the realities. It's the realities. One, I'm a Christian. Two, I'm a pastor. And even when I started within this taxi industry, I was already a Christian. So the way that you can only survive is to have the Christian ethics within the industry. A lot of people will go for bribery. I've never ever bribed anybody. If the traffic cops, they stop me on the road, they say, no, your car is not good. I can't bribe them. All I can do is either I apologize, they give me a fine, or I negotiate. I say, no, look, I can't afford a fine. I smile. And what I've noticed as well is that most of these traffic cops on the road, whenever they give people fine, nobody is excited when they give them fine. And as a result, those guys are stressed because they stop you. They give you a fine. And when they give you a fine, before you drive off, you insult them. When they stop me, they want to give me a fine. I know that they're already stressed. I put a smile in their face. I crack a joke. I tell them how good they are. And then they'll tell me, look, your car is not good. 1, 2, 3 problems. It's either I negotiate, say, please let me go, I'll fix it. Or they give me a fine without any bribery. Then I go and fix it. And I like it when they give me a fine because then they forces me to have my cars in a tip-top condition. The guy who bribes, they keep on bribing, and in no time, the cars are no more. But some of us who do not bribe, we fix our cars and they're always in tip-top condition. So I would say Christian ethics is the way to go. Integrity is a way to go. I can't talk much on honesty, but you can't be in this industry without any honesty. You need to be accountable as well. A lot of accountability. I mean, I am sitting here as a pastor, but I'm also a chairperson of a taxi organization down there in Guyana. And I am accountable. If you go into most of the taxi association, you find that the chairperson literally runs the organization by himself. And I don't. I allow the secretary to be the secretary. I allow the PRO to be PRO. I allow the treasurer to do his job as a treasurer. So I don't interfere. But I am accountable to everyone. But most importantly, in the taxi industry, if you want to survive, talk less and work hard. The guys who have been killed, I can tell you, they've got big mouths. They talk a lot. But the magic word in the industry as well is to know when to say, I'm sorry. If you have had someone within the taxi industry, be quick to apologize and genuinely so. And say, hey, my brother, I made a mistake. I am sorry. And they will easily forgive you. You know that even on the road rage is very high. If you drive mess in the road, the next guys will make them angry. But what I've realized that if I drive and I did not drive well on the road, and the other guy hoots at me, usually they hoot at me, you can even see their mouth, they are swearing and everything. But immediately, if you wave your hand and apologize, they are very quick to forgive you. You melt their heart by the magic word, I am sorry. And you will live longer.
Charles, you are a well-known, most sought-after public speaker, and you also write books. Tell us a bit more about that.
You see, I realize that writing books set you apart from the rest. There are a lot of pastors who are out there, they don't even have books. I ask them, why don't you have books? Their quick answer is that I don't have enough material. If you are preaching, don't jump into the pulpit. And my books that I wrote, they turned my life around. Because my first book, it was easy to write. It was a book about my life. and I entitled Footprints of a Legend, which is a biography of my life. And everyone has got a life. So I said, what can I do? I write a story about my life. I write a story where I was born. I write a story when I was very poor. I was borrowing shoes just to go and teach. I was wearing old ragged clothes. And then I write how I managed to start my businesses without money. And it inspired a lot of people. And guess what? All the TV stations wanted to hear my story.
Mm.
And when the TV station wanted to hear my story, little did I know that they are training me to be a motivational speaker. The next thing, TBN approached me. I did not go to TBN. They approached me. They said, no, how about if you come and be one of us? And I quickly agreed. And now that I'm on TBN, everybody all over the world, they want to hear my story.
Mm.
And that's how I cracked it.
Mm.
Then later on, I sat down. I said, look, there are a lot of people who are poor, there are a lot of people who are rich. What separates the two? What is it that the rich people are doing that the poor people are not doing? Then I found 12 things which the rich people are doing that the poor are not doing.
Mm.
Then I took the 12 things, I practiced them, and I realized my wealth growing daily. And I said, no, look, I can't sit with this secret. Let me share this secret with the world. Then I documented that secret in a book, and I called that 12 Traits of the Highly Successful People. And those who are reading that book is turning their lives around.
Mm.
So that's how I went into book writing and into motivational speaking. Currently, I'm working on another book, Divorce Proof Your Marriage.
Mm.
You know, because I realized a lot of people who are divorced. I looked into the blunders that I made myself, and then I interviewed a lot of people. And little did I know that my interviews to these people, it saves their marriage. The other time I went to Namibia, when I was in Namibia, I spoke to one pastor. I said to him, you can divorce tomorrow if you want, but I can guarantee you that your next person that you're going to marry will be worse than your current one.
Mm.
He said, no, that's impossible. I said, look, your latest wife, your original wife, your first wife is the best thing for you. Because if you do not get, if you divorce the one that you have because she snores at night and marry another one, you will find that she throws underwears all over the house. You divorce her because of that and marry another one, you find that maybe she's very lazy. You divorce her because she's very lazy and find another one. You find that at night when she takes off her fake hair and the fake teeth and the fake leg, now you have got something in your room. You divorce this one and get another one. You find that she looks very beautiful, but she's carrying a deadly disease in her body.
Mm. Mm.
So all women, just like all men, we have got different issues. I rather sit and stay with what I have and polish what I have. And after I started talking about that, I realized, no, man, I'm saving a lot of marriages. People who wanted to divorce, now they say, no, it's not worth it.
Mm. Mm.
So I started to document that on the book, which I'm going to release very soon.
Mm. 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 Charles, we cannot end this conversation without talking about the impact of coronavirus. I want you to talk to our viewers in terms of how it has affected your own businesses and the general South African economy and the world all over.
Look, businesses have been affected. The mining industry were completely closed. I've realized that there is more to life than money. You can chase money, you will never be satisfied. So I value life. I park my cars, I park everything. God has got a sense of humor. He has got a way in which He's going to make sure that we bounce back. And in the meantime, I also give a lot and support a lot of churches. And I know they're holding back into their giving. And I don't. All the ministries, all the people that I was supporting, even now that I've closed almost all my businesses, I am not stopping supporting them. I'll continue to support them because I know that the God that I serve will restore all that the locust has stolen. And we will bounce back. My parting words are stay at home, save lives. Because one richest person in Portugal who owns the entire banking system died of corona. And and if you die today of corona, we're not going to celebrate you. Because one, if you are admitted in the ICU, nobody will visit you. No hospital visits for corona. Two, if you eventually die, they put you in a plastic bag and put you in another plastic bag. And only one person can come in to identify you. Three, from the mortuary, we take you straight to the cemetery. You don't even go to the house, to the room which you used to sleep. You don't even go to church. Straight to the cemetery. We'll have a church service without a coffin in the church. The hearse will drive straight to the cemetery. And we're not even allowed to look at your face because you're inside the coffin. So it's only one person who identified you. And whenever we bury you, we're not even sure whether it is the same person in the box or not. Only the undertaker knows. And as a result, we won't even have closure. It's tough. And after burying you, whenever we go home, we're not allowed to sit at home and celebrate your life and eat. It's only takeaways. And not more than 50 people can attend your funeral. So if you don't want to stay at home and save lives and you die of corona, you will die with your money and you won't be celebrated. And we who are still alive are going to continue with life and buy back your assets. Because and continue living after that, because there will be life after corona. You see, the other time when I was sitting here at home, I was here in the sitting room, I sat there at home, I saw a spider at one corner. And because I like clean stuff, I took a feather duster and cleaned that spider web. And a few minutes later, I looked into another corner. I looked there, I saw another spider web. I looked there, I saw the very same spider that I cleaned on the other side. It has now created its own new spider web without going out of my house. Then God said to me, all the materials that you need to rebuild your life are within you. You have got all the resources, like the spider which did not go out of my house to build a new spider, to collect material to build a new spider webs. All the materials that a spider needs to rebuild its web is contained within itself. So it is with me and you. All the materials that we need to rebuild our lives is within us. I am saying to all the business people, stay at home, save lives. If you do not steal what you have, even if you were to lose all of it, you will have it back, and you will have it back quicker, because now you are wiser, you know all the strategies. It's unlike before, where I just stumbled across franchising. Now I know which buttons to press, and I'll get it quicker and much better.
Charles, your last words are, you have been in business and you are still in business. What advice, motivation, and inspiration you may want to share with those that may want to open businesses, or those that are already running businesses and they may be on the verge of giving up?
don't give up. You are not defeated until you are very defeated. Tough times will always be there, but tough time never lasts. But tough people do. Stay focused. Look ahead. Don't look just here where you are. Look farther, because as far as your eyes can see, the Bible says, I've given you that land. If you see 100 meters, you will have up to 100 meters. If you see up to a kilometer, you will have up to a kilometer. Extend your horizon. You see, during this time of a lockdown, I am extending my horizon because I want to see far, and you will see. Immediately after lockdown, I'll have more than what I'm having now because I'm extending my horizon.
Charles, thanks very much for affording us this opportunity to come onto our platform. We are very sure a lot of our entrepreneurs have benefited from this discussion. Once again, thanks very much for your time.
No, it has been my pleasure.
Thank you.
And I'm delighted that I could be of a little bit of assistance. I hope I have been, because if you are successful and you do not give back to the community, you are useless. That's why I also started my own program, my own TV show, Marketplace with Charles. It's my way of giving back to the community and educate the community. Because I don't want to climb the ladder of success alone. If you climb it alone, guys will pull the ladder down there, you'll fall back very quickly. But I need to pull up one person with and climb the ladder of success together. And I hope I manage to do just that. And God bless you. May you prosper with your show.
Thank you very much, Charles. To our viewers across the globe, that was Charles, who has been with us. We have benefited a lot from his experiences. Continue to watch our shows. Watch out for the next show. Thanks very much once again, Charles.
Thank you.